You're with Julian on the brown note. How the Sydney Morning Herald has fallen. I'm going to do a full piece on this, and I've been planning it for a while, about the decline of the once great Sydney Morning Herald and once Fairfax Media and the now Channel 9 owned Sydney Morning Herald. But it's Sunday. I've just done a piece about how Gladys and the media keep gaslighting us, and perusing the Sydney Morning Herald this morning has been quite a distressing thing. It is an endless stream of blue sky puff pieces designed to make everyone feel happy about Gladys and COVID. When I got to Sydney in 2004, I read the Sydney Morning Herald religiously. It was everything that a newspaper should be. It held the Liberals to account. It held John Howard to account. It was a great paper. And I subscribed to this paper. But you wind forward 10 years, and it's a different beast entirely. Today, you get more hard-edged criticism of the Liberal Party, truthful commentary on our economy in the Murdoch press than you do in the Sydney Morning Herald. In fact, two of its journalists, its most prominent, on the international stories, Peter Costello, on Australia stories, David Crowe, wouldn't do a more pro-Scott Morrison job if they actually worked in Scott Morrison's office. They go into bat every time that something happens. Peter Costello was there the day Scott Morrison screwed up with China, making out about how it was a great thing when he got us into a trade war with our biggest export market. They employed Peter Costello, the ex-John Howard treasurer, as the chairman. I believe the chairman, I don't even know. Since then, it has all been downhill. I really feel sorry for journalists at the Sydney Morning Herald. What happens to them? I remember part and parcel of Noam Chomsky's defining manufacture of consent. Half of it was about how media portrays events around the world and so on, and about how public discourse is shaped by the media and so on, in the interests of the wealthy. But the most interesting half of it to me was about how from school the right people progress. If you've got aberrant views that affect the elite own the structures that you move through, you don't progress. If you're a journalist that wants to attack a government or the elite structure, you are far less likely to progress to becoming a desk editor or the paper's editor, and you are much less likely to be an owner of a newspaper. That is a given. The most left-wing newspapers, if they're a corporate-owned entity, still toe the line when it comes to things like foreign policy, or The Guardian in the UK, Jeremy Corbyn representing genuine socialist Bernie Sanders policies, or daring to suggest there's apartheid in Israel. But the Sydney Morning Herald was brilliant back in 2004. It had a raft of really good investigative journalists, and it held the government uncomfortably to account. Not anymore. This is what I've seen this morning. The Sydney Morning Herald is basically trying to gaslight the country into having a positive outlook on Gladys massively screwing up the response to COVID and Scott Morrison massively screwing up the response to COVID. Sydney couples rushing out to get married. These are blue sky puff pieces designed to make people feel positive about the Liberal governance of COVID. If you tried out kayaking or paddleboarding during this lockdown, you're far from alone. Many Sydney-siders are flocking to the harbour's edge for a fresh way to exercise and stay sane. Socially distanced exercise. Sydney goes kayak crazy. This is all this morning from the Sydney Morning Herald. Don't like kayaking? Why not try some swimming? That'll lift spirits, says Dawn Fraser. The Balmain venue will welcome swimmers for the first time in 2 years after getting a green light to reopen during lockdown. This is today. This is on a Sunday. This is one day Sydney Morning Herald stuff that I've seen. All of them with a blue sky in the background and positive spins on the way that everything is frigging rosy. Shut up, phone. It's my brother, actually. They don't report on the fact that thousands of people are losing their jobs and their income and have done for nearly 2 months already, and that they're being evicted. They don't report on the fact that we could be up to 8,000 cases a day in October, and that at some point the ICU beds will run out and the death statistics will start going up. No, they talk about paddleboarding and weddings And swimming in Balmain. Isn't Balmain a good choice representing of blue-collar Australia? None of these things are designed to appeal to non-Liberal voters because they don't care about Western Sydney and Southwestern Sydney. They don't have their blue sky beaches to go and frolic on. They don't have their blue sky beaches to hold weddings on. This is, I mentioned in the other piece, we've got the world's third highest concentration of news media in print form, next to China and Egypt, who have state-owned media. We don't get any news media. That's why I started this channel last year, and I did a piece on it then. Why I started this channel is because we just don't get any news. The Sydney Morning Herald used to be a ballast, a battering ram against the Murdoch press. It is now slightly more pro-liberal than the Murdoch press. The Murdoch press actually hold the government to account every, one story in 10 maybe, but they've actually gone for the jugular on Scott Morrison. You'll never see anything like that in Herald. How the mighty have fallen. I'll do a bigger piece on this at some other point, but I was just gobsmacked scrolling through. Blue sky, blue sky. Let's have a look. Blue sky puff piece. Sydney Morning Herald. How the mighty have fallen.